Hey YouTube, what's up? Dr. T here, and welcome to my hometown, St. Petersburg, Florida. We are located on the central west coast of Florida by Tampa Bay and in the Gulf of Mexico on the west side of the county. Take a minute to have a look at St. Petersburg in all its wonders, a piece of paradise to live in. If you are new to my channel, take a look around. You will find everything for one-stop shopping in the playlists. So in my last post I went through a procedure for potentially selecting altcoins and how to go about trading them and evaluating them as such. I've now moved on to the position of deciding that I'm going to create a portfolio of coins of those that I had previously selected in the last post. One has been removed, one has been added, and this morning I just went about collecting some data. So this little part of this spreadsheet here details the coin name or symbol. They are all going to be related to Ethereum. So I went on to one of the charts, which you can go and look shortly, and put some data in there. I put in the 95 day moving average. I put the market cap in, I put the coins in, and I put a designation as to the nature of the coin. A star means relatively new. A double star means very new, in as much that they don't really have a 99-day moving average. So there's a mix here. There are some big caps, you can see that. We've got some medium caps, some millions, and we've got some new entries where they really have virtually nothing at all. So there's a good spread. They're generally going to be followed by acquiring the price for Ethereum, which is here. Bottom of this data set on the current price of Bitcoin, Cash, Ethereum and Lit from my GDAX account. So that's the number that is going to be used relatively. This is the current value obtained from one of my websites. That data is then related to the difference between it and Ethereum, i.e. we'll take the value of Ethereum and divide it by this number. These are all relative, doesn't matter what their absolute figures are. We just take these 5 digits, or in a special case where they're needed to have a 5-digit base, a larger digit, and then we get a relative to Ethereum, which have been put down here. I want to see what the percentage change is relative to Ethereum. Stop doing that. So now I've got some data. I've started off a new base, so now have the percentage change of these coins relative to Ethereum, and one can get a relative index in that regard. So average percent change relative to Ethereum minus 5% from this point here. And I also went and found another website that gives us a reasonable market cap that actually changes with time, and I've created an index here for all of my coins. So potentially if I buy them all, which I tend to do, so there's an index, there's relative to the market cap, and it's relative to the Ethereum percentage change. So that's a whole database of information. So we can go over now and take a look at the individual altcoins that I have. Now the trading platform is Binance, which I went through in the last post, and my other trading platform is GDAX. To tell you the truth, I'm not actually sure whether you can or cannot trade big coins in here. I just assumed you can't, and you have to transfer them in. So if I'm wrong, then it doesn't really matter. I'm just going to transfer my coins in from GDAX into Binance, and I kind of went through that in the last post. So I collect data on a number of sites for easy viewing, and this one is what I would term as my technical site, in as much that I have this set up and described it in the previous post. I have 2 moving averages, which is a 25 and a 26-day moving average, which corresponds to the same moving average on GDAX, and a very useful index. It's an index. It's a volume index, and you can set this window to whatever you want. I happen to have set it to 15 for whatever reason, and it's a means of evaluating when the purchased volume relative to the sell volume is increasing retrospectively, and looking to find the 7-day moving average moving above the 26-day moving average, or its 12-day moving average relative to the 26-day moving average, as a prospective signal, as a buy situation. And that's more to do with the Ethereum than these alt stocks, as I'm thinking that an intent would be to purchase, hold, and see what happens. Now, considering the market is now flat bottom, it's a pretty good time to kind of get in, I think, because it's not like you're going to have these shooting off in all different directions. So I've got these names here. I'm going to go over, I think, to I'm not sure where from. Well, let's see how it goes in here, and just open one of them up and open this out, stick it on a I remember what I did. I went over on the GDAX account because it gives, just a minute, yeah, I'm looking on the on the Binance account because it gives you these 7, 25 and 99-day moving average, which I'd put on this spreadsheet here. So without further ado, let's pick up on some names and go look see. So I need to write these names down so that I've got them all and I can flip through them. So yeah, let's go and have a look through a few and see how they came about to be of interest. Oh, it's G. Alright, stick this on a 1 day, or stick it on the full window first to see where it comes from. As they were designated as to be kind of long-term, new, very new. So I started out here on that. In regard to developing this data, this is what I actually went through and did. I started on the stock, took it out, evaluated them all on a 1 day basis, picked out some top, bottoms and whatevers, and generally had a look at where they were in terms of a prospective buy-in situation. So we can see that I was looking for stocks that had basically a different profile from your general run-of-the-mill. Now let's go over to GDAX. Now all of the coins on GDAX, the Bitcoin, ALTCOIN, Bitcoin, Cash, Ether and Litecoin, they're all co-controlled. If one goes up, one goes down. They've all got the same generic pattern. So one is the same as the other. There's not going to be any differentiation between them. So that's why one was selecting a variety of altcoins that had some differential aspects to them. In fact, we can, it's why not go and look at them all. Where am I going to do that? On here. On here. So let me put them all up. Sorry, I'm getting myself all confused. Let me do this and come back. So I've got a list. We're on tradingview.com. You can compare everything. So you just come into compare, put your symbols in. Well, let's do that. This is starting off on BLZ. It just happens to be the top of the list, so I'm just going to go down the list and put some more symbols on so we can see what they look like all compared one to the other. May not be very interesting following what I'm doing, but it's kind of a perspective of how one might go about doing something on your own that follows a similar kind of protocol. I select your own coins, build a spreadsheet database, find a platform to view them on, because I like this website for a number of reasons. P what I'll get to, P, I think that's the last one. Okay, so we've got them all in here and we can see the big picture. Well, this noise down here only relates to the primary one, which is the one up here. So it's good to be able to see that over the period of time. We can see this is current position. You can see how they're moving relative to one another, and we've seen, you know, you take the position that we've bought into these, and sometime down the road we're following this stock here in our portfolio, and we don't touch them, and all of a sudden this decides to go on a rush. Well, then we start to pay attention to it. All of a sudden this one's gone on a rush, so we can follow that from the portfolio and then decide, hey, this is worth taking out because this is well overbought. You can go into let's have a look at which one is this, by the way. It's hard to, the trouble from these colors, it's hard to kind of work out which one it is. It looks like to be the ultra bright green one. I'm going to come back in a minute when I found out which one it is. So yeah, this is TRX, and what we're seeing here is the percentage change relative to our base comparison coin, which happens to be BLC. So it's like, well, what happens when I have this portfolio put together? So there's another one spiked there, there's this one spiked here. Now this is a few days ago, but you know, one perspective is going to go along in time, and if anything substantial happens in the portfolio out of its baseline, so this blue one here, what's that? ONT, ontology, I know that name. This spikes up relative to everything else, up 66%. Then you have a means of deciding, well, I want to take this one out of the portfolio, put the money on the side, wait for it to come back down, and then reinvest it. So that's what the setup would be, comparing all of them such that you can track them all at once and decide if you want to take one out and the like. So with them all on this chart as their portfolio, you can select the individuals and then see how the displacement is with respect to all the others. Now TRX is up, so if we can just go in and click on TRX and it'll give you the respectives of all the others. So all the others are negative relative to TRX. TRX is now down here somewhere, and these are all in the negative relative to TRX. So you can do these kind of things and see what displacement is around them, work out whatever information you want that's important for making decisions, I guess. So I've taken them all off again. Let's go and have a look at some of the new ones. Yeah, so I found another one for the purpose of what this exercise is going to be all about. I've set up some experiments that indicate that putting it on a 15-minute setting, following these by cell volumes, when you can chart, let's blow it up a little bit. It's one thing about this wonderful technology, you can blow it up. When one can say chart a increase in the 12-hour moving line here to this increasing volume of stocks being bought relative to stocks being sold, and we see that transition. I'm saying that is a perspective point in which you can get in, buy, with a perspective that it's going to go up. You need to do some experiments, but there's the example of what I was kind of alluding to as how to use this window for. I think I've just about gone through everything I can think of here. So you just regard to the market cap data, you can get them off of, let's get out of here to the big picture. Oh, there's another thing I thought too. Let's go, let's go, let's go. So if you back out on this page here of the ALTCOIN index, you get a big over perspective view of what's going on all at one time. See what's going red, see what's going green. There's not a lot of trading going on now, because every time there's a trade you get a color, so things are obviously slowed down. When there's a lot of action going on, you're going to get a lot of buzzing colors here, because this is live and it's really kind of going soft. See, they're coming on. So there's not a lot going on out here, and you can get a perspective of what's going on. So they do have a market cap up here, and there's another one in another site. So the other site I was looking for, so this coin codex, yeah, they've got a market cap on here as well. They were different at one point in time, so I just took this one. So this seems to be a more live. They've got a different number of coins on here maybe, so you can follow the market cap on here. Gives you an indication where the market's going, but I guess this does as well. So that pretty much covers everything. I've selected the coins based on looking at them on this ALTCOIN index, selected them out with having different kind of characteristics. Let's just pick one of those other outs and just take a look at that. Like one of the really new ones, Encash, and Ontology is another one, isn't it? But Encash, let's have a look at Encash. All right. So have a look at Encash. It's fairly new. I went out to the 1 year. See, that's how new it is. It only came onto the market recently. So that's a prospectively interesting entity to get into right now, because who knows where it's going to go. It could do one of those spikes where it goes up 1,000% and you have it in your portfolio. 12 stock. I'm going to be bringing about 4 grand in here. So 12 stocks, 3 12s are 36, 4 over. So about $330. So that's the generic plan, is to, when the money comes in, I'll transfer it over to Binance and buy in respectively, depending on what the stock market's doing, about $330 into every one of these stocks, and then track them as before and take it from there, buy and sell, hold generally. So that's some perspective on what I'm doing and what you might follow along with in your own interests and doing your own coins and whatever. So if it's useful, I hope it is. Subscribe and you can follow what I'm doing in the Bitcoin live coding, live trading, not live coding business.